Hi there. So this video, I'm going to be covering about the corruption that's happening in Goa, a particular type of corruption in Goa. I'm going to talk about why I came to Goa, which is relevant and connected to the corruption that I've had first-hand experience of in Goa. And I'm going to talk about what is necessary, like the support side, if anybody else is going through this. And it's actually been in the news recently that there's been 100 people who've experienced this, and people who don't know anything about law, as I didn't at the beginning of this, and they don't know who to go to, and the departments in authority who can do something about this are not doing anything about it. And it's understanding the mentality of this and why this is happening in each department, what's actually going on. So I came to go with my father, and as soon as the plane landed, I just felt this intense experience that I'd never experienced before anywhere and never have since. And that is just the land of Goa. There's just really something magical, something about the atmosphere, the smells, the way she holds you. It's like nurturing, really like concentrated feeling of nourishment, and just really profound. It had a really profound effect on me on every level, and I knew that I had to live here. I wanted to live here. And Goa's got a reputation for being a place where people come, they take drugs because the alcohol is cheap, they drink beer, they throw the rubbish, leave behind their nonsense, use and abuse, like a toxic relationship. But I'm not into any of that. I really wanted to experience the land and the sense of Goa and the people and music and the art and the culture of Goa. So I managed to move here from England in 2010, and I stayed here for 8 years before I went to England. And when I was flying back in 2018, this is when the story of this corruption that's happened began. So you can imagine, I've been home, I haven't been home for 8 years, I go home to my family. That's a profound experience, emotional. And I'm flying back and I get a message that I need to go to the police station. There's been a complaint about me for trespassing in the house where I live in Anjuna. And the person who owns the house, who owns the property, is not in the country. So I get in touch with him, get all the papers that he has to prove that this is his house. And it's so confusing. You know, at that point, I didn't know what was going on. I just had this message, I had to go to the station. The next day, I went to the station, and it was a really scary experience because the officer said if I didn't leave the property, he would arrest me. And he said that the person who has made the complaint, I will call him LB because that's his initials, he has said that he owns the property, he has the sales deed, and he has the 1 in 14 form, which means basically that he's got all the paperwork that said he owns the property. And it was really confusing, like what's happening, what's going on. So I had to get a lawyer to come the next day, and he asked the policeman, why are you saying that you're going to arrest her? And he spoke in Hindi, and he slammed his fist on the table. And I knew at that point, my intuition started to kick in. Something's not right. Obviously, something's really strange is going on here. But it was very, very scary. Those feelings that you get of anxiety, helplessness, hopelessness, what's going on, you don't know. These, the authorities, you get a sense that something's going on, and the people who are supposed to be helping you are possibly involved in it. That's the feeling that I had. So then my lawyer asked to see the complaint against me, and the complaint said I'd threatened to kill LB. I'd never met him in my life before, and that in itself was a really strange accusation. I was thinking, if they believe him, what if they believe him and I get jailed, or all these thoughts that are going on, illogical thoughts if you don't know the system. and you're experiencing the system as being not trustworthy. So I found out that LB has forged the documents because I got them through RTI, which means right to information. You have to pay for the sales deed. I looked through it and it's all forged documents, forged signatures. He had a stand-in person for the person who owns the property and these other people involved. So it became clear then this guy's forged the documents to get the house where I'm living and he doesn't want me in it. So he's told the police that I've threatened to kill him and it's all fabricated. Now I become quite scared because I think to myself, if somebody can do something like this, they're capable of anything. And that begins my nightmare of not being able to sleep, wondering if he's going to come round, and all that psychological kind of torture that goes on with this kind of thing. Then he had the electricity cut off illegally, and it was monsoon, heavy rain. So I had to get a lawyer again, and the lawyer was brilliant, and the electricity department were really apologetic because this obviously shouldn't have happened. He did it illegally. Again, he probably knows somebody in the department. They put the electricity back, but then it was playing on my mind, like, what's he capable of, this guy? If he does something like that, he's obviously heartless, and he's obviously quite a sick person. He could do anything. And then the anxiety starts, and it affects the health. So I really had to look after myself. Lots of self-care, lots of good sleep, lots of fresh food. All of these things were like number one. And anybody else who's going through this might not think of these things, but these are like stepping stones to support yourself and be strong in any situation where somebody else is trying to affect you so that they can have power over you. So you've got to really put yourself first, look after yourself. Then he called my friend and he said, I want to meet you on your own. And he offered him 4 lakh to leave the house, for me to leave the house. I obviously said no. And if he has to bribe me, then obviously he knows that he's in the wrong. So after that, I got a letter on my birthday, nice gift from LB, saying all these really strange things, that I owed him money for staying in the house. And he also gave the dates of when he said that he visited the house and when I was supposed to have said, I'll kill him and spoil his name. Now, the dates that he gave on paper are the dates that I was in England. So it became clear that of this guy's character, lying. But when I told the police this or any authority, that seemed to be irrelevant. And it's not, is it? If somebody can lie like this, then it kind of shows. But that was brushed aside. And my lawyer, again, I had to employ a lawyer, and he wrote a counter complaint against this guy. And then it was quiet. Then I had 2 policemen visit the house saying I had to go to court. Now, these policemen were really nice. They were really sensitive and really kind. And wanting to know about the situation genuinely and not being bullying as before. So I kind of felt like this guy, LB, is going through some kind of procedure that he's concocted in his head in order to get the land. Then started the court proceedings, which is scary if you don't know the law. That was in 2020, and there was also this issue with the corona situation. So a lot of it became delayed. I had to go to the sub-collector's court, and the judge most of the time wasn't there. So I had to go in and sign a book every time I came. Now, this is called a Rosna, and I didn't know this, but they make little comments in this book every time you go. These little comments were never shown to me, and I got, after the case situation happened, I got right to information on this Rosna, and there's some misleading information in there about this whole case. So I had to keep going to the court, to the sub-collector's court. And then I went to get legal aid, which was really difficult. The first lawyer they gave me said he didn't want to do it because he doesn't know anything about housing. The second lawyer they gave me was the lawyer that LB employed to make that letter to me on my birthday. I called him up and he said, I would like to stand for you, but I can't because I stood for LB. And he said, oh, by the way, I know he's a crook. So he knew about this guy's character. And then I got the third lawyer, which I felt really positive about because he was the lawyer who'd helped me at the beginning. Let's call him P. His initial is P. So I went into P's office and we talked. And then I told him what I wanted from the case, what I wanted to happen, and it was very clear. The next hearing, his colleague didn't show, and I was left there with the judge talking to LB in Hindi in front of me, and it felt really, really off, really strange. I was calling my lawyer, where are you? And he was saying, oh, my colleague's on the way, but by then, the judge had said to me, bring your lawyer next time, and he was quite nasty, and I'd signed the Rosner. Unbeknown to me, they'd actually put something about this is the last chance for me to prove ownership. Now, they didn't tell me that. They didn't tell the lawyer this either. So the next court hearing, my lawyer asked for time. And they gave us 3 months to get a file together. So in that time, I got all the information, all the paperwork, all the sales deeds, everything. And I gave it to my lawyer. He told me to come into the office to drop the file off at a particular time, and he wasn't there. So I messaged him, and he said, leave it with the security guard. I said it wasn't safe to do that, and luckily his colleague came. So I signed for a receipt because I'm getting a bit wise to this kind of thing now, how you've got to be really careful. I kept calling the lawyer after that and asking him, can I see the draft that you're going to show the judge? And he kept saying, yeah, I will. I haven't done it yet. Yeah, I'll do it. And he never did it. And I said to him, I'm getting a bit anxious now. You know, you're not showing anything to me that indicates that you're going to present a file that shows my side of the story. The day before the court hearing, I'm saying, are you going to be there? I got a message saying, I'm not in a position to file a draft. So I said, what are we going to do? He said, ask for time. So I said, do I need to go and ask for time? And he said he would send his colleague. 27th of April, that was. I got a call on the 27th of April. Please, can you come to the collector's court? It's urgent. The deputy collector, had given LB possession without looking at my side because my lawyer hadn't filed the case. Illegally, he'd given him possession because you can't do that. But to hear that, and for my lawyer to act as he did, was really, really uncomfortable, and I could feel that something was going on. So I went to the collector's office. He wasn't there to speak to the judge who'd passed this possession to LB. My lawyer was acting strange. He wasn't giving me eye contact, and he was being very vague. He gave me that day very misleading directions to follow. And I got a feeling that this isn't right. Something not right about this, what he's asking me to do. He told me to go to the High Court and get a stay order, okay? Oh, and he had a friend that would help me get a stay order. And when I messaged his friend, it was 55,000 rupees for his services. That's quite a lot. So I was thinking about what's going on? What is this? And as if by divine intervention, somebody that I'd been speaking to on Facebook, a good, clean-hearted person, said to me, call this lady. She saved my life. She's the best lawyer in Goa. She's not corrupt. Is that possible? A lawyer that's not corrupt? I called her, and right from the beginning, this woman she was efficient. She was fantastic at communicating. She got back to me. She told me what I needed to do. And I could feel the difference. The previous lawyer, P, he did nothing. He did zero. He did absolutely nothing to help me in the case. And that was over 6 months. Nothing. He didn't do anything. This woman, within 2 days, I'd met her, sat down with her, I'd gone through the file, and she told me exactly what to do. She said, stay order at High Court. What a waste of money. You don't need to do that. That is misinformation. So I knew straight from the start that she knows the law. She knows the law really well. And she's very powerful. And she's been through it. She's really gone through it. So, and she knows corruption, and she's not corrupt. And so from then on, I filed a police complaint about this guy LB, because remember, I haven't said my side. My side hasn't been presented at all. So she wrote this incredible complaint stating everything, stating the act under which this person had committed the crime and the chronological story of the issue. Then we had to submit an appeal to the Sessions Court. We had to go in. And of course, this was over a month because we had 30 days to appeal. Now, 2 days after the collector had passed possession, LB turned up on the doorstep with 2 police asking me to leave. Now, the police woman was amazing. She was really sweet, really sensitive. And I explained to her, I said, look, I've got 30 days to appeal. This isn't right. I don't have to leave. And she went off, and I'd call my friend because it was scary. My friend turned up. LB ran away. He just ran like a little scared rat. But rats are cute, right? And the policewoman left a charger in my room, and she came back and she said, if you need me, I'll be at the station. And I just felt like, wow, not everybody's corrupt. Not everybody's being taken over by this parasite of getting what is not yours and wanting to harm people, on the way. So that was really, really felt really positive. And then back to the court, we submitted the appeal, and that is where it's at the moment. Only 2 weeks ago is when I submitted the criminal complaint, the FIR, to Anjuna police station. I went yesterday, which is 2 weeks after I'd submitted it, and they haven't even lodged it. I asked the inspector why, and he gave me lots of jargon about why he couldn't submit it, and I told him the story, and it's very confusing. It all sounds really confusing. You would think, wouldn't you, that actually fraud is a huge thing? I told him, these people want to steal the land of Goa. They don't want to beautify the land. They don't want to do it for anything positive. They want to steal the land so they can build concrete jungles, toxic material, mess, stink, smell, waste, ugly buildings that don't fit into the environment. They don't give a damn about the environment. They just want to build so that they can get easy money. And that's why they're doing it. And it is so opposite of the feeling I've got in my heart of the love of Goa, the absolute adoration of this land, and wanting just to experience this beauty. And this is the beauty that supports us. It's what nurtures us. Concrete, empty concrete, ugly buildings. No matter how many selfies you take that you own it and you tell all your friends, it's not really going to give you anything deep down. It's not going to nourish you, and you can say you've been to Goa and you can take a picture that you've been to Goa. You might not even feel it. You might not even experience it. The experience is with nature, isn't it, really? That's where the harmony is. That's where the nourishment is. And these people seem to have lost that connection. They've lost the connection with nature, with their soul, and they've filled it up with concrete and gold. Except it's just empty. It's just really empty. So this corruption that's happening here is to do with land grab, and it's to do with people wanting to steal the land of Goa, which to me is the biggest crime ever. Stealing from nature. And this is what I feel really strongly about. So if you know of anyone that's going through this, any friends who are going through it or have been through it, because people have lost their ancestral land, their grandfathers' houses and homes, the homeless, and the people who are not doing anything about it, who could do something about it, are not. So I want to make it public, and I want to do something, even start up a group, start up some sort of organisation to help people who are going through this and to investigate into why it's happening. Why is it happening? And talk to the people who allow it to happen. How are you feeling about it? How do you feel about Goa? Do you really want Goa to turn into a concrete jungle? So thank you for listening. And if anybody wants to get in touch and you've got any ideas or any thoughts about this, I'd be really interested.